You know you're in a dark place for anime recommendations when you're scrounging for a show on Prime Video. We were there, trying to find a worthy show to watch when we found our savior, Inuyashiki. A show so unbelievably goofy, we just had to click. Initially watching, we thought the CGI made the show ridiculous and that it had no chance of redemption. But by the time we finished the second episode, we were roped in. The comedic concept of an old man being turned into an immortal robot can really bring out hefty themes, especially when Ichiro Inuyashiki is compared to Hiro Shishigami, the yin to his yang. Point 1. Backstory. Ichiro Inuyashiki's story is really quite sad at the beginning. He was unappreciated by his family, with barely a presence in it, while also being an office worker who worked so hard he aged twice as fast. Bro basically experienced being an Amazon worker, but to top it all off, he has terminal cancer. However, his luck was about to change. He just didn't know he was about to become the main character of this story. Now, in a typical protagonist fashion, Inuyashiki goes to the park with his dog and immediately gets killed by some aliens crash landing on the planet. The aliens, wanting to conceal their identities, decided to erase all traces of their landing on Earth. That includes restoring the two organisms they sent to oblivion upon landing. They were out of NPC models, so they decide to completely cyberpunk them, maxing out their perks and making them incredibly overpowered battle machines. Now you might have thought that this would have been a crazy episode of Paw Patrol, but the dog wasn't the organism that died. This would have been a boring anime, besides the fact that there was a teen with Inuyashiki that night. Point 2. Coming to terms with his body. Following the park incident, Inuyashiki experiences immediate distress upon finding out he's not human anymore. However, in the first episode, Inuyashiki witnesses a gang shooting fireworks at a homeless man. So with his newfound powers, Inuyashiki runs in there and jumps everyone. Right? Wrong. He's actually the one that gets jumped. And this guy gets knocked out, even though he's supposed to be invincible. But knocking him out was their biggest mistake, because he loses consciousness and a sentient AI takes over. Inuyashiki proceeds to unconsciously disarm the assailants with his laser missiles and then doxes them on live television. I'm really glad that the author took a realistic approach to this situation, selling us the idea that Inuyashiki is still used to being inside a mortal body. He doesn't immediately become a black belt in all martial arts. Instead, we see him gradually improve as he starts saving more and more people. 10 out of 10 introduction. Point 3. Hero introduction. Now let's flip the script. What happened to the other boy at the park? Enter Hiro Shishigami, a seemingly normal high school boy. Unlike what we see with Inuyashiki, the show omits Hiro's perspective. We initially see the teen going to his friend's house. At this point, Hiro is worried because his friend is skipping school. They hang out, talk about manga, go to the mall, regular high school stuff. But then, Hiro starts performing inexplicable acts, bugging out the store's TVs just by touching them, and shooting down a crow with finger guns? The final act, seemingly causing a horrific traffic accident just by orchestrating it with his hands. This magic can only be explained by one thing. Hiro has gained a robotic body, and he's using it to harm others. He leaves his friend with a statement that Hiro has had it worse than anyone else, and that his friend better show up to school tomorrow. Point 4. Character dynamics. Now 2 robotic characters have been introduced, both having the same origin story, but using their powers for different intentions. Inuyashiki is a force for good, ready to protect others, like he did for the homeless person. Hiro is a different case though. When confronting his friend about going to school, he offers to kill his bullies. I thought he was gonna beat them up, but killing them is just way too far. Hiro once stated that if they're friends or family, who cares if they die? When he was human, Hiro was unconcerned about the lives of others, exclusively giving his empathy to those who were close around him. His transformation to a war machine only let that apathy spiral out of control. At this point, Hiro doesn't know what makes him human, and this show will send them on a bloody journey to find out. This show excellently demonstrates how dramatically different Hiro and Inuyashiki react to their situations and what they do with their powers. Hiro is a perfect foil for our main character, directly opposing the life and morals that Inuyashiki stands for. It is this writing that sends their paths on an inevitable crash course into each other. Point 5. Inuyashiki's perspective on his robotic circumstance. Near the end of his journey, Inuyashiki shares his thoughts on how his robotification affects his perception of himself and his purpose. Through his immortality, he realizes that it is death that makes life special. Death is an essential part of the human condition, and we see in the show how it is the lack of that causes Hiro's sadistic tendencies to reach an uncontrollable state. This culminates into Hiro committing unforgivable crimes. He basically starts wandering into people's homes and just killing them on a whim. Hiro so desperately wanted to remind himself of his humanity, so he started looking to what made him feel alive. It was witnessing the death of others that Hiro craved, and he came to the conclusion that killing others will bring him fulfillment. On the contrary, Inuyashiki comes to the conclusion that his meaning in life is to use his gift of immortality to prevent death. The innate human fear of death may have been acting here, but he felt alive in rescuing the lives of others. It was through his immortality that Inuyashiki's true altruistic behavior shined. Not only that, but he comes to appreciate the weak and puny person he was before he became an android. Saving people was his first response upon his emergence as a robot, which brings him peace of mind. Being in a position where he is in possession of the most power on the planet, he comes to the conclusion that it is his mission to use his power to save others, and as a consequence, feel human. With his robotic form, Inuyashiki is able to find peace and satisfaction in his life. Point 6. What went wrong with the CGI? I won't sugarcoat it, but the CGI in the show does not appeal to anyone. I completely get that the animators didn't want to draw the whole engine thing on Inuyashiki's back, but the CGI in action sequences could really mess with the flow of the fight. However, the plot also makes the fights incredibly rewarding. There's a scene in the show where Inuyashiki's up against the Japanese mafia, and even though it wasn't CGI, I found myself completely hyped seeing Inuyashiki body some of the members. If the show truly had no substance, I would have 100% quit by the second episode, but the sick plot really makes up for the PS2 cutscenes.
Peter?
You guys have to watch this show, and when you do, make sure you comment down below about what you think, or really just recommend some anime for us to watch, so we can make a video on it too. Also, you know the drill by now. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you really enjoy our content. See you guys in the next video.